Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 14, Episode 7, overall 722 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. They're located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all electric vehicles, are known as EVs, and a great selection of Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. I hope everyone is doing well on this sort of a chilly Wednesday here in Southern Ontario on this Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. And I'm looking forward to my guest today. This is her first appearance on our show. We met about a week and a half ago at the Niagara Falls Comic Con, and she is a Buffalo-based creative producer, Buffalo-based creative producer, film programmer, and she's also a podcast host of her own show here on Instagrams called Queen City Stories. So we're going to bring on Shellie Schmals, and we're going to talk a little bit about her media career and a little bit about being back in Buffalo as well as the Niagara Falls Comic Con. Just one second. We're going to bring on Shellie right now. Good afternoon, Shellie. How are you?
Good, Chris. How are you doing?
I am doing really well. I just got back from having a lunch and doing some content creating, and I'm looking forward to her show today. And I want to say thank you so much, Shellie, for coming on today.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic, Chris. I'm happy to be here. And it was a great meeting you I can't believe it was a week and a half ago. It feels like so many things have happened between now and then.
I find the older I get, the faster time speeds up. It seems like someone's got a remote control and they hit the fast forward button.
Yep, absolutely.
By the way, since I wanted to bring this up, how we met at Niagara Falls Comic Con, I want to say thank you to Chad Smith for giving me a media pass. And that was my first ever Comic Con I have ever been to as freelance media or even as a fan. And I think I picked a good day. Like Friday, it was busy, but for the first time, it was really good. I was able to connect with you and a number of celebrities and get some interviews, and it was a really good experience. And I would recommend the Niagara Falls Comic Con or any other Comic Cons to anyone watching or listening to our show.
Yeah, that was my first Niagara Falls Comic Con. I've been volunteering with the cohort that they have a Nickel City Comic Con that's coming up next week, and that I'll be volunteering with all weekend. But they also have like a Hamilton one that's a fright fest. They have one in December, which is more of like a Christmas wintertime one, and I volunteered at that. And I volunteered at the Nickel City last year, and it's a great cohort to work with. They have so many vendors. They bring in great celebrities, so many nostalgic and contemporary celebrities, plus their row of comic artists and vendors. It's a time, and I definitely recommend to anybody who likes any kind of fandom. Comic Cons are the way to go, just to celebrate what you love and what you get nerdy about.
I have a viewer watching on YouTube. He's from Buffalo. His name is Robbie Schneider. He's a podcast host of his own show called the 716 Sports Blizzard podcast. He wanted to say hello to you and myself, and and he loves all the Buffalo teams, the Bandits, the Sabres, the Bills. He's a sports fanatic, and he also loves bowling. So, Robbie, thank you so much for watching from Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo is like my second home, by the way.
It's a great city. Yeah, well, it's my first home. I moved away in, let's see, so I grew up here, lived in Amherst, literally went from Amherst Middle School, high school, across the street to Damon, down the street to UB for my grad degree. And in 98, I left for Atlanta, and I just moved back last August of August 25. So I haven't even been home a year yet. But my heart is in Atlanta. I've got my, so many friends and things that I love down there. But I knew eventually I was going to come back home to Buffalo, and it hasn't disappointed at all. I feel like Buffalo is a great city to be in. There's so much opportunity, and of course, sports. Who doesn't love the Bills?
I'm an Eagles fan, so.
Oh,
but that's okay. It's okay. I've been to a number. Yes, absolutely. Now, I wanted to ask you this. I've never been to Georgia or Atlanta. What was it like being down in Atlanta for 27 years, and how much did you evolve and improve in the entertainment industry from your time down in Atlanta, Georgia?
So I moved down to Atlanta sight unseen in 98. It was about 2 years after the Olympics, and Atlanta had just gone through this huge growth spurt. So I was job searching. I had had a couple different cities I was looking into, but so many people told me Atlanta was the place to be. So I took a position down there, and I didn't necessarily start off in entertainment. I started off in social services. So for the first 7, 8, 9 years of my career in Atlanta, I was working with nonprofit organizations, doing everything from volunteer management, community building, marketing, fundraising, getting my feet wet a lot in spaces, really learning how to make something out of nothing, which very much helped me when I finally found my way into the entertainment community. I started off at a improv theater called Relapse under the direction of Bob Wood. And this theater was magical. Bob actually squatted the space for the first 6 months and started doing classes and shows in the theater space. Reached out to the people who were, who owned and were leasing the space, and kind of built his theater inside out and into this amazing community where we had stand-up comedians, there was sketch, there was breakdancing, there was music. And for 10 years, the theater was off and on in the space, more on than off. And then for the past, I guess from maybe 2016 up until the pandemic, Relapse was open, and now Bob is starting another space of Relapse in another area. But primarily for me, Relapse was kind of my creative playground, where I was able to do just a lot of different outreach and really got to learn, and meet people in film and art and music. And I was really, involved in the creative community, and kind of helping build that for us.
Shellie, besides Bob Wood, who were some of your other early influences and mentors?
Sure. So, I mean, from, I guess, influences go, I'm a 70s, 80s kid, so I was just really
Same here.
influenced by what was on TV. I had a huge imagination and would imagine myself in any kind of scenario, would watch TV and want to be in Bewitched or the Muppet Show or Little House on the Prairie or Battlestar Galactica. I would, my imagine would take me into those spaces, and I was really, very much my, and MTV was a huge inspiration to me as well, just opening up the world of music videos and storytelling. That's as far as mentors go. Faye Dresner was a fantastic mentor to me in Atlanta. I worked with her at Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta, and she was just such a strong woman mentor. Within the film community, I was on the board of Women in Film and Television for 10 years, and every single board member and person that I came in contact with phenomenal leadership. Our president, Robin Watson, is, still a very dear friend, and I always look to her for mentorship. Who else? LaRonda Sutton as well. One of my dear friends, Nicole Sage, I always look to. There's Caroline King. Just women who are really just out there doing things and making things happen, I think are, people that I connect with.
Now, you mentioned you're a 70s and 80s kid. So am I. I was born in 72. Bewitched was one of my favorite TV shows. Did you have a particular favorite episode of Bewitched?
Wow. I would say, anytime she was like messing with Darren and he wouldn't, or Endora, her mother, where she would be able to, like make an advertising campaign happen. It's hard to actually remember like specific episodes at this point, but just, I think it was her whole overall spirit that always caught me.
My favorite episode was when Endora shrunk Darren down to size.
Nice.
That was a funny episode, and I found TV was so good in the 70s and 80s, and it was very creative, and the writing was good, the actors were good. I just find I don't know if you'll agree with me. I don't find TV as good as it used to be.
Yeah, I think that it's different now. I think that, one of the things that I've noticed with Netflix, and it really came to the forefront with Stranger Things, especially the final season and the final few episodes, with that is that they're rewriting their scripts now to account for people looking at their screens while watching. So you hear a lot of repeat information. You hear a lot of exposition a few times. And that's really, that's something that I've noticed a lot more in very, very recent scripts. I think overall storytelling then and storytelling now go at two very different paces, as well as it's, a lot of the, I think it ebbs and flows with relationship development and story development, but I definitely agree with you. I think WandaVision, if you watched WandaVision, that really kind of shows, in a capsule, the different kinds of episodes and episodic television there was per decade, and really kind of shined a light on how different each decade was.
I want to get your thoughts on this. I just recently watched this mini series on Peacock or on Crave in Canada called The Miniature Wife with Elizabeth Banks. Did you get to see any of that mini series?
No, I didn't see it, but I definitely reminded me of the movie The Incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin back in the day. So I did.
1981.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the Shrinking Woman or the Little Woman. What was it called?
The Miniature Wife.
The Miniature Woman. The Miniature Wife. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but it's on my watch list for sure.
That was actually good, and hopefully they might pick it up and extend it another year, because that's what they used to do in the old days. They used to give a series 10 episodes and see how it goes. So, but yeah, TV and the movie industry as well. I wanted to ask you this, Shellie. When did you develop the bug for the entertainment industry? When did you really want to get into it?
When I was itty bitty. Like, I remember being 4 years old and telling my parents I wanted to be an actor. It was always something I wanted to do, but I was, I think they wanted to go a more practical route with me. So, they were pushing, especially my mom. I was pushed in kind of a direction to be either a teacher or a lawyer. I should be a teacher or a lawyer. And I actually did go the route of going to school at Damon for history and government. I took my LSATs, I did so many internships, but I just it didn't take with me. I just felt like I didn't have the calling for it. So I ended up going into higher ed administration for my first graduate degree. And I loved it. I loved working on campus. I loved working with the students. That was something that really resonated with me. I was in a youth group in high school that was very much leadership based, like a fraternity and sorority. and just loved that kind of like camaraderie atmosphere, a lot of like service and social justice and philanthropy. And that's something that kind of has stuck with me throughout. And I think what I'm doing today kind of combines both of those things. Love, being a cheerleader for the arts and bringing, people together to celebrate arts, and also helping artists elevate their work and their voice, as well as, doing workforce development and kind of professional training and leadership training for artists and creatives.
Now, you mentioned the movie The Incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin. Were you a big fan of hers, who is a terrific actress and comedian as well?
Sure. But she was on Laugh-In, which also was another big, big influence for me. I think the character's name was Edith Ann. She was like, she was this like little kid who would do these stories. I'm like rocking, because she would be in like a rocking chair. And that was a huge, something I would look forward to. And I always kind of like resonated with this like child character. And then she was in 9 to 5, which was a huge hit. And who didn't love that movie? All about women's empowerment. So like those early works are definitely an inspiration to me too.
Shellie, do you find creativity and imagination in the film industry has kind of shrunk lately?
I don't know if it's shrunk per se. I think we have so many independent filmmakers out there who have amazing ideas, who are doing things that are unexpected, who are using their creativity, their personal stories, and putting those on film. I think it's Hollywood and the studios that have gotten safe, and they're not taking risks enough. And so that's why you see the same IPs over and over again, or you see, sequels that are, going on for years and years, because they're kind of afraid to take that leap into something that's, more from an unknown. Really, I think it's very difficult to break in for I don't want to say like the average person off the street who has an idea and has a script, but it's definitely not the same Hollywood that it used to be.
How much of an impact has AI had on the film industry, and is it shrinking the industry with AI and the technology?
That's a huge question. I'm not sure if I could, I don't know if I feel comfortable speaking on like the entire entertainment industry's take on AI. I can share with you like my personal like experience from it. I think anytime AI is meant to replace a person's creativity or replace a person's storytelling, that's not a safe bet. I think anytime AI can help make a process go smoother, or help areas where you may not have a big budget to do something like storyboarding. Sometimes you don't have the ability to to try and do something during a film, to try test it out in practice. But if you could storyboard it and use AI to help storyboard the process to make sure that you're fitting your days and that kind of stuff, I think that's, things like that can be helpful. But as long as it's not replacing creativity, it's enhancing the workload.
It's like with AI, I do occasionally use a little AI with my editing videos if I'm very, very busy and I don't have a lot of time. But I use it, but I don't use it 100% of the time. I think if you use it in small moderations in the right way, it's a good tool.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I used to sit there for like 4 hours and edit an email to make sure it was like smooth and read right, and made sure I didn't miss all my commas and periods. It's very, I find that it's just an easier way for me to like get all my thoughts down, write my email the way I want it to sound, run it through AI to make sure that it sounds okay, and then have that kind of be my proofreader where I don't have anybody, I'm a solopreneur, so I don't really have anybody else I'm working with to help me with that kind of thing. So I feel like if it's like a practical way to, to help you do your work smarter, then to me personally, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Being a solopreneur, such like as myself and Shellie, I can relate to you. For those people that are watching our show live stream or later on audio platforms, what advice would you give to them from your experiences so far?
I've been on and off a solopreneur for a really long time. I think that one of the things that I always love to do, and I just did it this morning, is have like people who are accountability buddies that you meet up with to, whether it's bouncing ideas back and forth, being in the same space, and even just like co-working kind of parallel, where you're each working on your own things, and it just kind of helps sometimes to make the day go a little bit quicker, or make the work a little bit easier when you have just somebody nearby that that you still feel close to be able to get your work done. I think that always make sure, you're waking up at the same time of day, you're keeping yourself on a schedule, that you've got meetings planned, that you've got time planned for your work. Always, always network for yourself as well. Make sure that, I'm also, I'm a victim of this too, where you end up meeting so many people, you have to make sure you follow up. Following up is
Yep.
tantamount
Big.
in everything.
Yeah, because sometimes I go to these connections and networking events. People talk, we all exchange business cards and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then sometimes I contact them and I never hear from them too. So yeah, what you just said there, connecting networks huge, but you also want to make sure you want to follow up with people too.
Yeah. And also don't be afraid to follow up multiple times. So, and I tell this to people all the time with me too. If you don't hear from me, just email me back. It's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because there's only so many hours in the day. So I appreciate it when people follow up with me multiple times.
And that's what I did with you after meeting you on the Friday night. I think it was Saturday, the next day, I sent you an email
Yeah.
and I heard back from you and we arranged to do this interview today on Live with CDP.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can be as simple as that for sure. And I think one of the things as well as, when people are starting off, don't discount volunteering for others and helping them with their projects as well, because, it's always reciprocated. Like I'm always, I always put myself out there to volunteer for friends projects, because you also, especially in the film and entertainment industry, you never know, once they get their paid project, they're going to bring their friends on board that they've been working with. And so I feel like that's how those cohort groups happen.
Bingo. And when I was having lunch today, I was also talking to the staff and the manager of the restaurant about my social media content, and they like my work. And I think they're going to I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they're going to come aboard my show as an advertiser. And that's how you do it. I use technology and stuff a lot. But for getting people to advertise and sponsor your show, I
Mhm.
still find person to person still the best
Yeah.
way. And you build a rapport with people too is huge. Whether you're in the film industry, you're in media, whatever career, it's huge to build connections, network, and a rapport with people. And then people learn to trust you and get a sense of how you do things.
Yeah, and relationship building goes so far. And also you never know in life where people are going to go in their fields. I mean, what was a fun thing for me is one of my friends that I started off with in my very first job in Atlanta was the Jewish Community Center. I would say, 25 years later, I'm calling her because she's working for a newspaper, and working with her while I was working in entertainment PR to help get like a placement in her newspaper she was working for. So, like you just never know where people are going to end up and how your paths can cross in multiple ways.
Absolutely. You said newspaper too, and it's kind of sad because I used to read the newspaper seven
Yeah.
days a week, and now the newspaper has really shrunk and it's pretty well
Or
non-existent. And
disappear.
It's disappeared. So you have to stay with the trends and times. I do think in the future it will come back, just like a lot of retro things like roller skates, bell bottoms, vinyl
Well,
records are coming
people are
back.
bringing back typewriters now as well, and
Well,
just
I did not know that.
yep, typewriters are a big thing now, as well as flip phones. Some people don't want socials on their phones anymore, so I've seen that coming back. There's,
Wow.
a lot of people are unplugging on the weekends. I've seen there's, book clubs are coming back as well because people want to really talk about what they're consuming and not just talk about it on Reddit. They want like face-to-face experiences.
Absolutely. And as much as I love doing virtual stuff, there's nothing better than meeting people in person at sporting
Yep.
events or Comic Cons and just connecting. And the first person I met at the Niagara Falls Comic Con that I had direct contact was with you, Shellie.
Yeah. See, it all works out.
Absolutely. Hey, Shellie, I wanted to get your thoughts on indie movies right now, and your thoughts. There's more indie movies coming out, but what makes a good indie movie these days?
Storytelling. I think the crux of any type of film is the story behind it. And it could be a big story, it could be a small story, it could be something that's set in somebody's house, it could be a whole universe and galaxy story. But at the crux of it, I think that there's got to be a character that is going through something and that has something to say.
Now, Shellie, can you tell our audience a little bit about being a Buffalo-based creative producer and film programmer, and what that does that involve exactly?
Sure. So, film programming. So, this is really from my experience working at the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. For about 10 years, I was on the front lines helping curate, first of all, we had about 200 volunteers that worked for 6 months to look at 750 films to help curate our festival. AJFF was one of the largest Jewish film festivals globally. It was a festival that went for 21 days. So half my year was like sourcing films, working with volunteers, and working with filmmakers to bring their films to submission for the festival. So that was one part of the film programming piece. The second part was once these films were selected for the festival, I would be the one who would be doing all of like what's called like the print traffic for the festival. So that would be maybe like 75 or 80 screenings where I would be the one who was working with the filmmaker to make sure that we had all of their poster, their trailer, everything was spelled right for their titles, the year that it was produced, all of those line item details, but also making sure that their film got to the production company that was helping us get everything to the theaters. And so if you know anything about
Yes.
how DCPs
Yes,
work.
everybody, guys, it's just a Wi-Fi connection issue. Shellie, are you back?
Oh,
I
yep,
do
I'm back. Oh, did you not hear me?
apologize. It does happen with technology, guys. Things do happen. So hopefully we can get Shellie back on here.
Oh,
Shellie's just talking to us about being a creative producer, film programmer, before we got booted off by Wi-Fi. So Shellie, are you back?
oh, yep, I'm back. Oh, so what part did I end with?
Okay. That was That was on me. I apologize. Sometimes things do happen with technology, and you just have to
Oh,
work through it.
sure.
You're just talking about being a creative producer programmer.
Yeah, so film programming was what I did at AJFF, the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival, which is one of the largest Jewish film festivals globally. And so I worked half the year on curating the festival with about 200 volunteers. I was the one who was sourcing the films for the volunteers to take a look at, working with distributors. And once the films went to, they were decided upon, I was the one who was working with them to bring them to the festival. Now, all film festivals are different the way that they do programming. I've also done programming where I was the one who was like physically and like working with a committee where I was the one who was selecting the films overall for like our WIFTA short film showcase. I also have a film festival that I'm producing myself called Film Strip Fest. But that's,
Okay, I do apologize. Hopefully we'll get Shellie back. It's just unfortunately I'm having a Wi-Fi issue. So okay. I do apologize. It normally doesn't act up, but unfortunately today there's a bug. So hopefully we can get you back on, Shellie. I apologize for that.
Okay. Oh, am I on right now?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
you're
you
back
hear
on?
anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So did you hear anything I said about AJFF or no? Oh,
A little bit.
okay. So for 6 months out of the year, I was working with filmmakers and volunteers to help, process their films for the festival to help curate. And then for half of the year, I was working on the production side of things to make sure that the films got to the screens during the festival.
Okay, everybody. This is on my end, so I do apologize for the technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi. So hopefully we get Shellie back on, as we were just talking about her being a creative producer and a film programmer and her experiences down in Atlanta. Are you back, Shellie?
Yep, I'm back.
Okay, so bear with us. We'll get through this. So thank you for your patience.
Oh, sure. Should I go again?
Yes.
Okay. So half the year I worked with volunteers and filmmakers to help bring their submissions to the committee for them to take a look at. And then half the year I worked with the filmmakers who were selected for the festival, getting their prints with a production team to bring it to the festival themselves on a production level. So that was, for that specific project, that was what programming was about. For smaller ones, I'm actually the one who's doing the selecting myself and the curating for the festival.
Shellie, how would you describe yourself as a creative producer and a film programmer?
I'm always looking to do different and immersive types of programming. So my film Strip Fest that's coming in March 2027, that's going to be a festival of short films and burlesque. So I'll be, the first night will be Friday will be some short films and some traditional burlesque of routines. The second night will be an immersive process where a burlesque performer and a short film will be paired together as one experience. And so
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm always looking to do something that's different that hasn't been done before.
How did you come about the Film Strip Fest and Burlesque Festival? And again, where will this be released to the public?
So I've been a burlesque producer and host and performer since 2009. And I just love the art form. It means a lot to me. I love the personal narrative behind it. I love that it's primarily a woman-led art, and the storytelling and the body positivity. I think that burlesque is something that, it's a historic, it has roots in history since the 1850s. It bleeds a lot into the realms of parody as well as political. There's so many genres of different types of burlesque that it's just something that's always spoken to me.
Shellie, what are some stereotypes of burlesque still, even in 2026?
I mean, I think people, I think people don't necessarily understand the nuances between stripping, burlesque, pole dancing. They kind of want to classify everything as, the same type of work, and they all have different nuances to them. And I think that that's probably the most, the biggest misnomer between them all.
How much work is going behind the scenes of this?
With everything, there's always so much work that goes behind the scenes in it. It's a lot of working with especially with burlesque, it's working with the performers, working with the venue, making sure that we've got all the music right and the stage notes, and and similar to how you would run any other kind of cabaret or theater show is the same way you would run a burlesque show. So, and
And
then
being
marketing. You can't do anything without marketing and having the people there.
marketing and social media too, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
And will it be released on Netflix, or where can people catch this when it's released?
No, so this is going to be a live like a live festival
Show.
in
Okay.
Buffalo at Revolution Gallery.
Okay, and people can get tickets through the website, I'm assuming?
Yes, once everything's released, yes.
Well, when it gets closer to the release date, please let me know, because I would kind of like to support your work.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would appreciate that.
Speaking, you were talking about that the other day on WIVB Channel 4 in Buffalo. How was that media appearance on that
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, the
channel?
team there was so nice for sure. And we ended up having a standing room only show for Bebe. It's burlesque. It was a Schitt's Creek themed burlesque show.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. How did you come up about starting your own media productions company?
I think it's been kind of an evolution of everything. In 2000, around 2005, 2006, I made a list of these are the things that I like to do. These are the things that I like, and just kind of like over the course of many years, just kind of picked and chose projects that I enjoyed doing and that spoke to me kind of on the basis of those, like, this is what I like, this is what I like to do. And I think as social media rose, the opportunities of different kind of work figured itself out. And I think that's, within what I do is the bucket of, having I guess a media studio, a production studio, being the solopreneur that collaborates with everybody. Cause that's really what I want to do, is collaborate with artists and organizations. That's where I feel my strength is at. And I don't know if it's
everybody. Again, I do apologize. There's just an issue with my Wi-Fi today, so it's on my end. So I do apologize. We're going to just try to up an episode with Shellie. Company. Shellie, again, technology, when it works is great. Sometimes it's off. So today it's just a little bit of acting up, but thank you for your patience. And I wanted to ask you about your media productions company. What were some of the challenges of starting up your own production company from the start?
Yeah, I think some of the challenges was just, I didn't really have a blueprint for how to do anything. And so I talked with a lot of people and just kind of figured it out on my own. I think I do a lot of things backwards. Like, I have my goal of what I want to do and then figure out how to get myself there. And so that was one of my challenges, was just, okay, what am I doing? How am I starting this? How do I define this? I went to school for something totally different, but fortunately along the way, that's where I think mentors come in. And that's where I think being a part of professional organizations come in. The more people you meet and the more, you're exposed to different types of things. And also, in a way, watching a lot of reality TV shows kind of helped me define different opportunities that were out there. I think of things just like, looking at like things like Project Runway and how that evolved, and looking at those creators and what they did with their careers afterwards, and following them and seeing just, like all different kinds. You can grab an inspiration from anywhere.
Can you tell us about the branding and marketing aspects of your media production company?
Sure. I mean, I love working with people and projects that are that are new, that are finding their voice. And so finding, what, how they would like to be presented, helping them figure out like what are their elevator pitch, like how do they want to be represented in the, in a business sense.
How much would you say you've evolved and improved over the years?
A lot. I mean, I'm still evolving and I'm still improving, but as far as, my resources go and what I always feel I'm capable of, I'm, I feel like every time I have an experience, just it's in my tool belt. Every failure I've had is something I now know not to do. And so I feel like you have to put a lot out there and not be afraid to fail in order to figure out, what you're good at and how you want to work and what you enjoy doing.
You don't want to shrink in the spotlight. You want to continue to grow, not shrink. And
Yep.
also mindset too. You're going to have people that believe in you, but you're also going to get your skeptics, naysayers, haters, and critics. And you got to block that out. You have to believe in yourself before you can believe in anybody else. And being in the spotlight, believe it or not, I used to shrink in the spotlight for many decades. And now I'm very comfortable being in front of a camera or being in front of celebrities or professional athletes or actors,
Mhm.
etc.
Yep, absolutely. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you're growing and the more you're learning. So it's all, to me, it's all beneficial. I've definitely been one who've started a lot of things. And I've noticed anytime where I've struggled start getting something off the ground, I've always learned that either it wasn't the right partner, it wasn't the right situation, it wouldn't have been the idea wasn't strong enough. So you have to be unafraid to start things and drop them in order to figure out what's going to work.
And mistakes are going to happen. And the
Mhm.
only way you get better as a professional in any career is to learn from your mistakes. And I've
Right.
had guys from TSN, which is our version of ESPN here, tell me, Chris, mistakes are going to happen when you try to be perfect on air. You're going to end up making more mistakes. So if you do make a mistake, learn from it and move on from it. Don't beat yourself up on it.
Yep, absolutely.
And encourage other people too. And I've had a lot of people in the profession support me and my show. And now I try to do the same thing as well. Pay it forward, be a good person. And also, you mentioned volunteering too. It's been a big part of my life for 31
Mhm.
years. But even in the media industry, the first couple years I did this, I did a lot of volunteering to get to help out people, but also you get life experience and skills. The money will come at some
Yeah.
point, but it's important to get experiences and skills too.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you there, especially when I talk to students and people who are emerging or new professionals in the field. I always advocate for volunteering. I think that that's a way that you grow your skill set and you grow your networking base of people that you know. If anybody's ever stuck in their career and they're looking for different opportunities, I always say if you're interested in doing something, volunteer for a nonprofit for what that position is, and you'll gain valuable experience, and you'll also gain a lot of appreciation for the work that you put in.
And how I ended up in this career 7 years ago was through volunteering with a local basketball team. They needed a camera operator. I volunteered to do camera work. I was nervous, scared, and they showed me what I needed to do. And they liked my work and they actually paid me. And then they referred me to a local TV company. And then it led to my podcast, radio show, and media work.
Wow.
So volunteering, being in the right place at the right time, I got a taste of the broadcasting bug.
Yeah, that's exactly how that goes. I mean, from my work with WIFTA, they definitely, I got a chance to coordinate large summits to yeah, just a lot of different things. So it was, I'm so grateful for all those opportunities.
Shellie, what are your thoughts on producing cultural and building community through films, live events, and community program? And what makes Buffalo such a great place to work, live in, and do films?
So, especially when it comes to community building through cultural experiences, I think that's just a way to bring communities together. A lot of that happens in Buffalo. You'll see a lot of experiential events happen here. Different. I just spoke to somebody, an artist yesterday who does murals and works with communities to bring those murals, their thoughts on what the community mural should be, and then they're the artist that brings that mural to life. I think those kind of experiences are essential. I mean, it speaks to the history of a community. It speaks to the appreciation for the artist and their work and how they can bring that community's thoughts, ideas, and life in that community together. I think you can bring community together through food, through visual art, through sound. And all of those things are ways to make a community more whole. And also bring other people to the community to see what's going on there, and make everything a little bit smaller. I feel like Buffalo is ripe for these kind of experiences.
Buffalo's technically a big city, but you get a small town feel there from my
Yeah.
experiences.
Yes, definitely. What's been wonderful is since March, I have just been on kind of a roll where I'm doing so many informational interviews, and I'm having meetings where person I'm meeting with in the morning knows the person I'm meeting with in the evening, which has been really fun.
What are some of your favorite locations around Western New York?
So Revolution Gallery has become a favorite space to be in and see for sure. I walked in there and I definitely felt at home as far as the community and the art. North Park Theater as well has a great vibe to it. That's a favorite spot to go to. Canal Side is beautiful, and over the summer there's always so many activities to be involved in. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I feel like every weekend there's something happening. And every night of the week, actually, there's Music on Main that happens every Thursday in Williamsville, and that's really fun just to have like different, bands and concerts walking up and down the street. You can see a whole bunch of stuff.
And Buffalo's also a great comedy town as well. I had a friend in Michigan that just did performance at Helium in
Uh-huh.
downtown Buffalo, Cameron Kay, and Ellie Brady. She's a stand-up comedian in Buffalo as well. She's one of my friends and guests. She's does some stand-up comedian work as well. So it's a really it's a big city, but it's got a small town feel to it. And a lot of athletes that I talk to love living in Buffalo and like to retire there when their careers are done.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo is the perfect city. As I have a friend who is a image stylist and it does makeup for like New York Fashion Week and LA Fashion Week. And she describes Buffalo as the perfect city. You're only a little bit, you're kind of like a hub, an easy hub to everywhere. She can get to Toronto, New York, Miami, and LA super easy from Buffalo. So
But
it's a great place to be.
But there's one sad thing in Buffalo right now, and I noticed in Amherst, Niagara Falls, and Buffalo, shopping malls are shrinking.
But so here's the thing, IKEA, I just heard that they're putting an IKEA in Galleria Mall. So I hopefully having that will kind of bring some life back into the mall. I am definitely an advocate of malls. I love the mall. It's my favorite place to walk around, get my head together, window shop. And to see the mall shrink, the loss of Boulevard Mall makes me really sad. That although I do think that I would definitely be one of those people that if they were to put make a condos in a mall or a residence in a mall, I will be like the first person to move in and have and live in that kind of like that space. So, and I know that they're doing that in other cities, so hopefully they'll be able to make residences out of the malls here.
And I
Let me
just
live in
find,
the Hot Topic in Boulevard Mall. I'd be so happy.
yes, I miss that mall. I used to go to that mall, Summit Mall, the Niagara Falls Fashion Outlet Mall too. I think that has a number of things to do with the politics, which I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping one day when things get better to come back over there because the Buffalo Bandits, the National Lacrosse League, have been great with me. The Buffalo Bisons, and I have a lot of friends over in Buffalo and the Western New York area, and it really is a nice area. And I always feel like I'm still part of Canada, even when I go in Western New York, because you guys are so close to us and you're so similar to us as well here in Ontario.
Yeah, and I like there's just so much sharing that and appreciation that we have, I think, between our two, between Western New York and Southern Ontario. The two are very commingled and advocates of each other. I think the beautiful, what happened at the Sabres game when
Yes.
that's I think the best example that we could give is that that poor girl's mic went out But here we are. We're in Buffalo. We're going to sing the Canadian national anthem, and that was beautiful to see.
Absolutely, and it's happened too in Toronto where the American national anthem, the mic went. Technology doesn't always work, and the fans, they continue to sing. This was a couple years ago too, so it's a really good relationship, and I'm looking forward to one day getting back over to support your work and also see my friends. And I miss the Buffalo Bisons and the Bandits. They're great organizations, and that's how I got a lot of my media training, was from these opportunities from these teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. And so Chris, it's wonderful to be chatting with you too. So once you do come down to Buffalo, we'll go out for wings.
Absolutely. Speaking of wings, who, in your opinion, has the best chicken wings in Buffalo?
All right, Duff's. I'm a Duff's girl, hand down.
Same here. I like Duff's. Duff's in Niagara Falls on Military Road. Yeah. That's the one I usually go.
So for me, I'm Duff's in Amherst, right on Sheridan. That's my spot. We always used to go there. I remember when it was like $4.99, you'd get 10 wings. You'd get French fries, and you'd get like a salad. Yeah. That's how old I am.
I remember when wings were 25 cents each.
Yeah.
But Duff's is really good. I haven't been to the one in Amherst, but my favorite store in Amherst is Al Bean and Kohl's. I can spend a couple hours. Yeah. And Amherst is such a nice city, and it kind of reminds me of some of the cities here in Ontario, and it's just everybody's nice, and it's like it's big, but it has a small town feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Shellie, as we wrap up our show in a couple minutes. What is next on your bucket list?
So let's see. So bucket list things that I'm working on, kind of a couple collaborations where I'd either get to be like a producer in residence with a community theater, maybe doing some educational programs with the university. I have a film day in Buffalo that's on my bucket list that I really want to do in 2027. I'd also love to be able to host a red carpet. So if there's any nonprofits out there who need a red carpet host, I would love, or an MC for your gala, I would love to do that too. Let's see what else is on my bucket list. I'm also producing some films that I'm so excited about. I've got a fundraiser coming up in July 25th at Revolution Gallery for Gilded Splinter, which is an indie film with Mike Wisniewski and Fred Polov. So that's really exciting. And so those I guess maybe that's not so much of a bucket list rather than like things I'm working on, but I guess the bucket list item would be I want to MC a gala and host a red carpet.
How would you describe yourself as a public speaker? How would you describe yourself?
Just personable.
Yeah.
I'd say personable, cheerful, good sense of humor. I can roll with the punches.
Now, if there's people out here that are watching our show live stream or in audio and they're interested in your work, are you looking currently for like advertisers and sponsors as well?
Yes, definitely looking for advertisers and sponsors, and also just different collaborators. If you have a project that you think I might be interested in, I'm always willing to listen to idea pitches and, things that somebody thinks that I might be helpful for. So anything from being an event producer to a panelist or a moderator, putting together a conference or a program, or bringing together and curating an immersive event, a branding event, or activation. If you need help getting publicity, if you want to work with influencers, if you want to do earned media, anything like that, I'm looking to help, looking for collaborators and, projects to work on.
Do you have any plans to have a website, and what's the best way for people to contact you directly?
Sure. I do have plans on a website. Basically, right now, my websites are either LinkedIn or my Instagram page. You can get a feel of who I am and what I do from both of those things. You can email me at ShellieSchmals.com, or I'm sorry, ShellieSchmals@gmail.com, or get in touch with me through LinkedIn or Instagram. All of those are, you can just go to my Instagram page, which is at VonSchmals, and you can find my my email address there.
Shellie, do you have a couple more minutes for a few more questions
Oh,
before we
sure.
wrap this up? Okay.
Yep.
Can you just tell our audience a little bit about your podcast show on Instagram Live on Sundays at 8 p.m. called Queen City Stories, and what was your inspiration behind this?
Yeah, so on Sunday nights at 8 p.m., every Sunday night, I just, take 15 or 20 minutes and chat with a local creative about who they are, what they do, why Buffalo is part of their creative journey, and what projects they have going on. It's a really fun way for me to introduce different creatives to a platform that they may not have they may in a different audience that they may not be able to reach on their own, as well as I just love telling, kind of similar to you, I love chatting with people and finding out about who they are and what they do. I started a series like this when I was in Atlanta, called Older and Bolder, and so I was talking to pinup models and burlesque performers who are 40 years of age and older, and that was kind of in support of a show that I did called Middle Age Cabaret. And so Queen City Stories is really a part of a plan that I have to help elevate and kind of enrich the artistic ecosystem here in Buffalo. So I've got Queen City Stories. I'm working on a Queen City film pitch, and eventually something called Queen City Live, which would be kind of like an open cabaret of all different artistic mediums.
Who have been some of your most memorable shows and guests so far?
So Kat Martinez was my very first guest, and Kat is phenomenal. She is a filmmaker, producer, artist, like special effects artist for makeup. She's been really wonderful. Sean Sanders is a fantastic actor in Buffalo. He is and he's also a writer. He's he does scare houses as well during Halloween. So it was really fun to talk to him. Mark Hudson is a comedian. That was a really great conversation, learning how he, how he came in from like the South. I think he was in Virginia, and then he was in New York, and now he's in Buffalo. So kind of hearing how people also travel around too has been really fun. And speaking also to
if you're ever looking for guests in the future, Shellie, and you need a guest from Canada, I would be happy to come on your show as well.
Absolutely. We'll arrange that. We'll sidebar.
I do apologize, guys. Again, it's one of those days with the internet Wi-Fi, so hopefully we can get through this last couple of minutes as well. So I do apologize. Technology, when it works, is great, but sometimes it doesn't. You just have to get through it. I've seen it in TV and radio. So, yeah, Shellie, if you ever need a guest and you like one on from Canada, I'd be glad to come on, and I really do like your show. And your last guest, Dawn, that was a great show as well.
Yep, Dawn is awesome. Yep, and she, and a lot of these guests I'm meeting through others as well. So it's, it's been just a wonderful. My friend Gino, who I also introduced me to Dawn. So I think that's kind of the way that a city like Buffalo rolls. You just keep getting introduced to people.
Absolutely, Shellie. And then as we wrap the show up, I'd just like to play a little clip from your TikTok page. And where can people follow you on TikTok? Your interview with the gentleman that played Zach on Saved by the Bell. I thought you did a great job.
Oh, thanks.
One second. I'm just going to play the clip, and then just give us quick thoughts on this interview the conference at the Niagara Falls Comic Con.
Like many years ago, you guys have so much amazing comedic chemistry together.
And I was like, no, I'm actually going to do that. So maybe.
Thank you, sir. I do apologize. Just one. Okay.
So I got the opportunity to see.
You know, back in the 1870s as a Western, these two fish out of water guys that kind of find their way to each other. And that ended up not going. It was a really good script, but it just wasn't the right time.
Did you both write the script together?
We actually gave it to, you know, it was our idea. We gave it to the writer producers at Franklin and Bash. They wrote the script. We have a script, and then it just, you know, what happens sometimes in the business, it just doesn't happen. But we were really excited to be, just even that moment of being able to work together again on a script and those working together. Yeah, we do a reboot of Franklin and Bash if we could, but I don't know.
That clip. And what was it like speaking with Mark from Saved by the Bell and some of the other celebrities you spoke to as well? Pat from Degrassi Junior High.
I know. Oh my goodness. So as a diehard Degrassi from back in the day, like
Same here.
So having like Mark Paul and Pat in the same room, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Starstruck.
My teenage self was like just cavelling. So Mark Paul, so I followed him for a really, you know, been following him for a really long time. And it, you know, I know like he I think he has a deep appreciation for, you know, his Saved by the Bell days, but I also realize like he is somebody who probably he enjoys talking about his other projects too, which is something that I'm really fascinated by his, you know, his work as like a director, actor, and writer. So for me to be able to connect with him on a question about he and Brecken, and I also love Brecken Meyer. So like, you know, that was really great. And he was so warm, and, you know, just, you know, transparent with his answer to me about, you know, them hoping to work together. And so that was great. And being able to speak to Pat as well and talking to him about, you know, if Joey Jeremiah was a superhero, who would Joey be? That was really fun.
Yes, I was able to meet Pat, Stacy, and Stefan last year at a car show in Milton. So I got to interview all of them, and they were great.
That's fabulous. Actually, my very first Degrassi episode I watched was the one that Spike was pregnant. So I like that just totally takes me
back. Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I met Mindy Cohn, who played Natalie on The Facts of Life, the first thing I said to her was, "Hi, Natalie." And then I'm like, "Oh my God," she smiled and I said, "Hi, Mindy." And it's just, I'm sure I'm not the first or the last person that's called her Natalie.
Yeah, I'm sure like I feel like for some people, their character and their persona are just like, it, you know, like I follow a lot of 90210 podcasts, and listening to Tori Spelling talk. She's like interchangeable between Donna and Tori. So she even says it herself. She answers to Donna. So I think that it's just something that when you've reached that level of connectivity to a character, it just, it makes sense.
Harry Waters Jr. from the Back to Future movie gave me a nice 5-minute interview, and then Peter. So I was very lucky, and I want to say thank you to Chad Smith and the Niagara Falls Comic Con. It was my first time there, and I've got a lot of interviews in. I got some free fudge out of it, and I met new people like yourself, Shellie. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If there's one actress that could play you, or you could interview one actress, who would it be right now?
Oh, wow. I don't know who would play me. That's a really hard one. Uh, who would love to interview? Amy Poehler. I would love to, or Aubrey Plaza. Actually, I would love to interview Aubrey Plaza and Amy Poehler together. That would be my like interview to end all interviews.
As for Canadians, who would you like to interview? As for Canadians.
Oh, as for Canadians, wow. I mean, I've interviewed
Besides
Tony
me.
Jeremiah. Who else? Yes, and you that I'm going to talk to. Who else from Canada? I can't even. I'm trying to think right now. Like Dan Levy. I'd love to interview Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek. That would be phenomenal.
I would love to interview his father, Eugene Levy, who was a SCTV alumni with John Candy and Andrea Martin. Second City. If you ever get to Toronto and you like comedy, check out Second City. That's where John Candy, Eugene Levy, and a lot of famous
Yeah, I think I saw a show there in
Canadians,
like
Mike
2011.
Myers, started their careers at Second City in Toronto.
Yeah, I saw a show there in 2011. So I love I've been to second cities in LA, New York, Chicago, and Toronto. Yeah, they're great.
And as we wrap up the show, Shellie, this is the segment we wrap it up with. It's called Ask the Host CDP a Question. Do you have a question to put me on the hot seat as we wrap this up?
Yes. Okay, so if you had a film about your life, what would the film title be?
The Underdog. I would call it The Underdog because I've been told my whole life, you can't do this, you can't do that. You won't succeed. And switching careers from security, I was grateful for my security career because I learned how to public speak, how to listen, how to think on my feet, how to react, and I think it's really helped me. But I think a title for my film, for my story, would be called The Underdog.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
And I love what I'm doing, and it's the guests that make a great show. And I really do believe that experience in 2 decades working in a big casino and a racetrack really helped me go into the media. And now I'm 54, and I love what I'm doing and connecting with people and getting opportunities. And I've had to reach out for a lot of opportunities. Sometimes no, but I also a lot of yes too. And I tell people when somebody tells you no, don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a temporary setback. And then sometimes people get back to you in a month or two and they change their mind too. So don't what's the word? Don't burn bridges.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out one more mentor that I should have mentioned, but Carolyn Sloss, also, who was my last boss at Ally Global Marketing when I was in Atlanta. I love Carolyn. She's a phenomenal professional and just taught me so much about, the brilliance of being direct with people and just about PR and everything like that. So I definitely, she's somebody I also look very much up to. So I just wanted to make sure I put her in my list.
Shellie, what's one fun fact about yourself?
I used to roller skate a lot. That's my fun. That could be a very fun fact.
Same here, but the last time I roller skated was 1982. So I'm going to have to get back and do it. And I guess you guys have a roller skating area in Amherst now too.
I'm not quite sure. The last time I went we had, this was years ago, but we had USA Skate that I went to a lot. But the last time I was on roller skates was probably for the Barbie premiere. We had an influencer Barbie event, and I put roller skates on for that.
I need to get back on them. And I had one guy call me Gramps, and I'm like, hey, it's fun. I grew up in the 70s and early 80s roller skating to disco music, and that was a big deal on Saturday.
Oh yeah, those Saturday mornings at the roller
going to roller skating and having pop and being with your friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, Shellie. And finally, Shellie, where can our audience again follow you on social media? And when's your next Queen City Stories on Instagram and live? And do you have your next guest booked?
Yes, my next Queen City Stories. I just have to kind of firm up my guest, but I'll be announcing that tomorrow on my social media. But my you can follow me at VonSchmals on Instagram and TikTok, or find me on Shellie Schmals on LinkedIn. Facebook, I'm Shellie Schmals as well. I have a fan page and and my just regular profile. So you can find me all of there. I used to have a Twitter/X, but then I was booted out for it and I started it again. But then I'm like, I don't really feel like messing with all that.
Blue Sky, are you on Blue Sky Social yet?
I am on Blue Sky and I'm on Threads as well.
Okay, I'll look for you there on Blue Sky and Threads as well.
All right, perfect. Well, Chris, this was so wonderful talking to you. Thank you
But
so much.
Shellie, I
for
want to
having
say thank you
me
so
today.
much for giving us over an hour. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
no, this was fantastic.
I do
appreciate
apologize for the Wi-Fi glitch, but it happens.
Yep. You know,
Yes, and it happens.
Yep.
You just have to work through it.
Yep, absolutely.
But I want to say thank you so much, and hopefully you'll get to come over to Ontario at some point this summer. And one day I will get back to the Buffalo area as well, and we'll go for chicken wings and maybe a cool beer.
Perfect. And I'll reach out to you about doing Queen City Stories.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate it, and I will try to watch as much as I can as well. And I want to say thank you so much, Shellie. Give me a little bit of time today, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and then I will shrink the video into 15-30-second clips, because everyone's attention spans nowadays seems to be shrinking. Now I need to as well. I used to be 5'9", now I'm 5'4". You might be making a movie about me.
Right, the incredible shrinking Chris. I'm sure that.
Yes, absolutely. But hey, it was a pleasure having you on here, and thank you so much. And look forward to staying in touch with you on that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Talk to you later.
Also.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, Shellie. Thank you so much, Shellie. Have a great day. Bye. All right, everybody, that concludes season 14, episode 7, overall 722 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. I want to say thank you to my guest today, Shellie Schmals. She is a creative producer, film producer, podcast host, and the founder of VonSchmals Productions as well. So thank you to Shellie Schmals for coming on here today. And make sure you check out her Instagram and TikTok page at VonSchmals, and she's also on Instagram under VonSchmals, as well as LinkedIn as well. So thank you to Shellie Schmals for coming on here today. And also I want to give a shout out to Jack's Pancake Factory. They are a breakfast lunch place located at 257 Grange Road here in Guelph. Their website is jackspancakefactory.com. They have the best pancakes in Guelph. And today I have one of their burgers, and their burgers are homemade and they will fill you up. So a shout out to Valentine, Reese, and the staff at Jack's Pancake Factory, again at 257 Grange Road here in Guelph. And I want to give a shout out to the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. You can check out their website, donkeysanctuarycanada.ca as well, if you'd like to volunteer or help them out as well. I did an interview with one of their managers, Grace Saint, from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada as well. So please consider donating or volunteering your time with the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, which is just located out in Puslinch as well. And by the way, Grace did ask me to ask people on my show if you're able to help donate items to the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. Right now, they are looking for soccer socks for some of the donkeys they can put on their legs. And if you can donate soccer socks, you contact the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, Grace Saint as well. Their website, donkeysanctuarycanada.ca. And that is about it, guys. Before we wrap up the show, I have a couple more shows tomorrow. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by BarryCullen.com. Thursday, June 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern, with special guest Rachel Lewis, professional singer and voiceover coach in BC, Canada. And at 8 p.m. Eastern on tomorrow, with guest Nikki Whitehorse, a WWF superfan and insider. So 1 o'clock, Rachel Lewis will come on and talk about her professional singing career, as well as being a voice coach. And then 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Nikki Whitehorse will be back for her 5th appearance as WWE Insider, and we're going to talk a little pro wrestling. So don't you dare miss it as well. So Rachel Lewis at 1 o'clock, Nikki Whitehorse at 8 p.m. as well. And again, thank you to Shellie, Schmals, a creative producer, film programmer, podcast host, and the founder of VonSchmals Productions out of Buffalo for coming on our show. And before we wrap up the show, guys, as I always do, if you're looking to adopt a pet, please check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society. They're located at 16th Dunbar Road, Cambridge. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0. Pardon me, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the pets and animals that are up for adoption, pardon me, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And Friday, June 19th, at noontime at Freshco in Cambridge, they're doing a hot dog sausage fundraiser for the Cambridge District Humane Society. So please check out cambridgehumanesociety.org or Cambridge Humane Society social media pages. There is a hot dog sausage fundraiser this Friday at the Freshco in Cambridge, Ontario. For the Cambridge District Humane Society as well. And as we wrap up the show, guys, again, check out Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, and also their EV selections as well. And speaking of the EVs, right now there's a EV health check for change. Help support your local children's hospital with an EV health check, which you can do at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership for a change package. For each EV health package purchase, $10 will be directly donated to your children's hospital. More details at barrycullen.com or drop by their location at 905 Woodlawn Road West in Gulf Automall. Again, barrycullen.com, or you can call them 519-824-0210 for more information on the EV health package and their health check for change for local children's hospitals as well. And as we wrap up the show, guys, we have Major League Baseball on today. The Detroit Tigers take on the Houston Astros at 2 o'clock. And for the World Cup of Soccer, there is a game tonight at 7 o'clock at Toronto Stadium, known as BMO Field. You have Guyana against Panama. Guyana against Panama at 7 o'clock tonight for the World Cup of Soccer as well. And again, congratulations to the New York Knicks and the Carolina Hurricanes on their NBA championships and Stanley Cup championship as well. And that is about it, guys. Again, thank you to Shellie Schmals for coming on here today, and I want to say thank you to the audience for watching this show on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram, and to my audience on my audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Good Pods. And please remember to check out my content on TikTok at Chris Pame on TikTok. I just posted my burger tasting try at Jack's Pancake Factory, again at 257 Grange Road in Cambridge, Ontario. And also I want to give a shout out to the Business Education Partnership of Waterloo Region. You can check out their website, Business Education Partnership of Waterloo Region, or just Google them. And I want to say thank you to Jennifer Burnstill, Scott, Sarah, Chelsea, April. I've been a part of the Business Education Partnership of Waterloo Region for the last 2 years, speaking to high school kids about the importance of education. And that is about it for today's show, guys. Again, I want to say thank you to Shellie Schmals for coming on here today. And I'm just looking up the website for the business partner. Just basically go to Business Education Partnership of Waterloo Region, Google it, and they do have a website if you're interested in becoming a volunteer in the 2026-2027 school year as well. I was at their volunteer appreciation event last night as well. And also, please consider helping out the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. Again, their website, the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada.ca, and they're located at a Puss Lunch as well. That is about it for today, guys. Looking forward to my double hitter tomorrow. Rachel Lewis at 1 p.m. and Nikki Whitehead at 8 p.m. talking WWE, the world of pro wrestling. Hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by yours truly, Chris Pame, and brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet.